Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this edition of the news on DBS TV. We shall give you a roundup of what major stories in Africa and the world have for us this day, beginning with Africa. In Africa, the Electoral Commission for Tanzania has held a date for this year's much anticipated presidential elections, and the chosen date is the 28th of October 2020. The electoral body says election campaigns will run from August 26 to October 27, a day before the grand elections as disclosed this Tuesday. In the elections, current President John Magufuli, who has been at the head of the country since November 5, 2015, will be seeking a re-election. He was chosen early this month as the candidate for the ruling CCM party. Opposing him will be several other candidates, including the opposition leader of the Chadema party, Freeman Mbowe. Former Tanzanian Member of Parliament Tundu Lissu has also expressed interest in running for the top seat against President Magufuli. The National Electoral Commission says about 29 million Tanzanians have registered to vote in this year's election in order to elect the President and the National Assembly. In Tanzania, a more strict curfew is to be observed from this Wednesday, following the instructions of President Emerson Mnangagwa, who passed the order after an observed spike in coronavirus infections. According to the order, non-working people are to stay at home, and a 12-hour curfew is to be imposed as well for everybody from dusk to dawn. Other sanitary and preventive measures against COVID-19 are equally to be more strict to curb the spread of the disease. Security forces are to be deployed to enforce the rule from 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. and to make sure that all non-working people stay at home except to buy foodstuff and seek medical attention. The country had first witnessed a complete lockdown from March. Now a more strict lockdown is meant to curb the further spread of the disease. It should be noted that over the past week, infections rose by nearly 1/3 and the number of deaths too increased. Zimbabwe, as from this July 22nd, has a registered number of cases of 1,611. Sudan's ex-president Omar al-Bashir's trial in connection with the 1989 military coup amidst other alleged crimes has been postponed. The trial opened this Tuesday and exposed him to a possible death sentence for corruption charges, war crimes and genocide in the Western Darfur region. The judge leading the case, however, said it would be adjourned until August 11. It should be recalled that the 76-year-old took power through a coup in 1989 with the support of some allies who are as well on trial. Al-Bashir has been imprisoned in Khartoum since he was ousted in 2018 through mass protests that brought his 30-year rule to its end in 2019. Recall that Bashir also wanted by the International Criminal Court for his alleged war crimes. Other defendants include his former allies, such as military officers and extremists. In Egypt, the parliament has given President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi the go-ahead to bring in military intervention in Libya if need be. The parliament approved the decision of armed forces abroad to fight terrorist groups and militias. Fighters in Libya have been battling internationally recognized government forces under the leadership of Commander Khalifa Haftar. The security problem could risk causing a direct conflict amongst the foreign powers that have given in weapons and fighters, violating an arms embargo. It is clear that conflict in neighboring Libya can affect Egypt too, reason why Sisi warned last week that Egypt would not stand idle if there was a threat to national security in Egypt and its western neighbor Libya. This decision is considered a lawful one, as the law states that the supreme leader of the armed forces, which is of course the president, shall not not declare war or send armed forces outside the state's borders to undertake fighting missions unless he first seeks the opinion of the National Defense Council and the approval of at least 2/3 of the majority of MPs, and that was achieved this Monday. Moving out of Africa, we take you on to other parts of the world, beginning with America, where President Donald Trump now urges Americans to wear face masks, and he says the outbreak would get worse before getting better again. During a historic coronavirus rescue package in Washington, D.C., he said the virus outbreak would get worse before it gets better. He said so while encouraging Americans to wear face masks to help slow the spread of the deadly infection. Over 141,000 people in the US have died from the coronavirus. Trump said he is getting used to wearing a mask and that he has no problem wearing one. Recall that over the past months, President Trump resisted wearing a face mask in public, and once suggested doing so was a political statement against him. The goal is not merely to manage the pandemic, but to end it, Trump said. In a repeated assertion, the US president said the virus will disappear. And that is how we saw it in this edition of the news on DBS TV. Thank you for being with us, and we do hope to see you next time. Goodbye.